Welcome to the Homeschool High School podcast, brought to you by Seven Sisters Homeschool.com and the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. I'm Vicki, and I'm so excited that I get to talk to a new young person today. We met at a conference recently, and I'm excited about what he is doing and bringing to our homeschool community. So, everybody, greet Luke Zingg. And we're
Hello.
going to talk about lines on clay. But first, Luke, tell everybody about your homeschool story.
Okay, totally. Yeah, I was homeschooled starting in fourth grade by my family, which was a good fit. I really enjoyed it. My dad has been a professor in like business and finance and economics at the college level. And my mom has some background in writing and stuff. So it was a cool experience. I feel like I had some great parents as teachers, especially my dad being a teacher. So we began in fourth grade and continued through, I think, my sophomore year of high school. And a lot of that was because my family did a good amount of travel. So my dad did some online teaching, and we were able to travel about, and that was like a big motivator for learning to homeschool. And I really enjoyed it. I think my dad's kind of a math person, and I inherited that. So he realized I was like good at math and enjoyed that from a young age. So it was really cool having like a father who was a instructor in math be able to teach me and push me in that regard. And then my mom definitely helped with me being more well-rounded. So I hated reading and writing when I was younger. Like I despised all of it. And she really pushed me to improve my writing, and I'd have those essays where I'm like crying as all of it's crossed out in red pen, but then she's like, this is really good. And I'm like, it doesn't feel like it's really good. But eventually I improved with that. So I continued with that. And then I began going to ASU's online high school program for a year and a half. It's good because I was able to take college courses in mathematics. And then I began a degree. I finished this last December in applied math at Arizona State University. So it ended up working well, but that's in short the timeline of my homeschool journey.
So there's math down in your soul, and it's in your gene code. And one of the beautiful things about homeschooling is being able to lean into our kids' interests. And so you had a dad who saw that math love as well as his, and y'all did that together. And then your mother could pick up the things you didn't love, because we still have to have the education, and she took the hate out of it anyway, and that was a good thing. Yeah, and how nice that there were online courses that helped spark your interest when you got to that age. So, which leads to, all right, nosy person here. What would you like to do now that you're an applied math graduate from ASU?
Yeah, I really enjoyed statistics. So the applied math program was a lot of fun. You kind of do like a little bit of everything. So you're doing a little bit of like very pure math and proving all these things, and it's like very abstract and up in the sky. And then you have some more like engineering based and biology stuff. But I really gravitated to the statistics. I did my honors thesis in statistics. So right now I'm kind of looking for some jobs and interviewing at some companies in like data science, which is just the fancy new word for statistics in a lot of ways. So I'm trying to just kind of get my feet wet and understand like what part of that I enjoy and what I maybe don't like so much, but I really like presenting things and visualizing data, and then also doing the kind of nerdy math stuff, building all the models. So that's kind of the goal right now, and then eventually probably get my master's or PhD in statistics.
That is really, really cool. And the statisticians, the data scientists these days are really doing a lot of what drives the science and research and culture forward. You just don't get a lot of the big, like attention for it. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So it is a really, really good testimony to homeschooling, as you had some formative years with yourself in the trenches, doing homeschool at its best. Everybody leaning into strengths, enjoying traveling, and then finding ways to enjoy or get through the things you don't love. So,
right.
All right. So that somehow led to Lines on Clay. So what on earth? How did that happen? And tell us about Lines on Clay.
Totally, yeah. So Lines on Clay is kind of our family's business that we've made I put together a collection of online courses geared towards teens. There's no prerequisites, so you could take it at any age, but it's
Mhm.
at more of a high school level.
Mhm.
And a lot of this was from my dad, who has been a teacher at a college level, and he kind of thought to himself like, this is great, but we kind of don't need college students to be learning this. We need high schools to be learning this, right? And a lot of this is life skills and practical things that would be useful to know as you decide and become an adult what you want to do with your life, and good next steps. So this began about 3 years ago, and we kind of started developing this curriculum. I helped with our semester-long statistics course. That was my main involvement, which is where I decided, like, I committed. I liked all of the math, and I didn't know where to go. And then I developed this course and was like, I really enjoy statistics and teaching it. So that was big for me, just giving me some clarity. But we also have courses in like life strategy and investing. So these are online kind of self-paced courses that are to help teens kind of figure out what good next steps are with their lives, and make things that are practical. And then my mom has a real eye for design. She does photography. And so my dad mostly wrote the curriculum, and me and my sister helped him with that. And then my mom kind of made them all pretty, so it's not like a black and white textbook. So that's been we got the whole family involved and some family friends to make a collaborative effort to put this together.
So these are courses that are digital.
Mhm.
Is that right? So video courses, asynchronous, there's textbooks related to the courses.
Yeah, it's hosted on a website called Pathright. So we
Okay.
have a collection. So there's most of it's text,
Mhm.
like a textbook, but we also have videos that we've kind of shot. Like I said, my mom does videography, so we have the fancy camera gear, and we were shooting in our house. So we have a collection of videos that are mostly taught by my dad, but some by me and my sister, talking about the course material. We have like interactive videos, and maybe like clips from movies or quotes if they play in.
Oh,
Uh,
those are fun. Yes.
yeah, and then we have a collection of questions throughout, and then some assignments. So we have different formats. We have for our courses a graded version where we're actually like looking through the assignments and giving feedback. We have
Mhm.
an ungraded version where you could kind of just do whatever you want, and we just give you the course and it's all yours. And those are both asynchronous, so you could start whenever you want and take as much or little time as you want. And then we have a live online that we're starting, which you could find on our website, the schedules that meet once a week or twice a week to talk about the course material for an hour.
Oh, that's really neat. So families have an option of doing one or the other.
Yep.
And yeah, I these days the demand for online courses is so high, and I think
Mhm.
where you guys have is a little bit different offerings than sometimes the more established online schools do. Like I was looking here at the website, you got like everyday leadership and like you mentioned, the inferential statistics and introduction to statistics and life strategies, so the art of taking action. So different like practical life things, and then also like some mathematically useful
Yeah.
things for teens who are going in that direction. Yeah. So and different lengths. Some are 4 weeks, and some are 8 to 16 weeks.
Yep.
In investing with impact, like it would be good for high schoolers to learn about, investment
Absolutely.
strategies.
Yeah. We kind of have like timestamps and all. So we have some mini courses that are more to like fill in the corners of your curriculum that are about a month's worth of content. And then
Mm-hmm.
something like statistics is like has a semester commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I know I developed the statistics. I really like that. But having gone to these conventions, I think life strategy usually catches most people's attention, which is fair.
Yeah.
And then most parents are like, I took statistics in college and I hated it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough. Um,
Yeah, for kids who, this is just a Vicky's aside, for kids who are not naturally mathematically inclined,
mhm.
but want to go into more a sciencey field, so like if you were like when I was a kid in college, I wanted to be a biologist.
Yep.
And so at the University of Florida where I was at, we had to have 3 semesters of calculus and one of statistics for a biology major. I don't know why we needed all that. And I did not love math. And if I had had some statistics in high school, it would have helped me have the neural structure to do that statistics course in
Yeah.
college. with confidence instead of like a nervous wreck.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something statistics kind of creeps up on people. So
Mhm,
like I really enjoyed it and studied it for math, but you
mhm,
see statistics. I have friends that are like nursing majors in college and they need to understand statistics or psychology. There's a
mhm.
lot of statistics that goes into
Yeah,
psychology or
yeah.
criminology or like you said, something like
Mhm.
biology, like all these kind of science related things. And then even things um like nursing that maybe doesn't seem like you would need it, but you do need to understand. So we've done our best. We kind of say in that course, like no math until you absolutely need to. So we've done our best to make things like very approachable for students who don't like math.
Yeah,
Maybe you have a student who you're like, they're always complaining, like, when am I ever going to use any of this?
yeah,
Well, we can't, promise that by the end they'll be a huge math fan, but at least you'll have an answer to that question of like, okay,
yeah.
this is something that's very practical.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and because you love statistics, that helps influence the way the curriculum comes about.
Mm.
Like it's presented, you can feel the interest
Yeah.
of the author. So yeah, and I tell you, for an aside, I work as a counselor, so my hat that supported my homeschool habit all the years is psychology,
Yeah.
and we use statistics all the time in order to read research, and so it's never my favorite part of life, but I can understand what I need to on, is this a valid study?
Yeah.
What's the bell-shaped curve telling me? So
You,
those.
you know what a p-value is and all that, I'm
Yes,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the standard error of measurement and all of those things. So, and those are things that a life skill. Like if a young person has some basics of statistics, that gives them better critical thinking in life. So I'm selling your statistics course for
Thank
you
you.
there.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate it.
okay. All right. Another question I've got is, how did you guys come up with the name for the program? So it's called Lines on Clay Academic Journeys. Do
Mhm.
you know how that came about?
Do yeah, yeah. It's kind of a creative name. I love this question. Yeah, so we're Lines on Clay Academic Journeys is the full name. Usually we just call it Lines on Clay or LOCAJ. We call it
Okay.
as we shorten everything. But if you see our logo, it's like the Mesopotamian Sanskrit, which is our
Mhm.
oldest recorded writing. So the
Uh-huh.
idea behind that was that we've kind of made these business courses, and we say that, of course, when we think of writing, we think of poetry and literature and philosophy, and that's great. But
Mhm.
these old recorded um, tablets with writing on them were business transactions. And
Yeah.
so this whole idea is like writing itself seems to have been invented for business, right? For these kind of practical concepts. And so if business was so important that writing itself was worth being invented for it, then
Mhm.
probably your teenager should have an understanding of business, right? And so that's the tie-in there.
That is absolutely brilliant and kind of adorable at the same
Yeah,
time.
that was my mom's invention, and she pitched it to me, and I was like, it's kind of weird. And then I heard this story, and I'm like, okay, this is quite cool and compelling. And that's usually most people's reaction once they get the idea that like this is great, but it's not obvious.
Yeah. Now I remember reading a National Geographic story about one of the early, like, cuneiform writings, and it was a customer complaining about his business transaction.
Yeah,
And so you're right, like the earliest things that are surviving tends to be, yeah, the stock and the business and the customer
yeah,
complaints and all. So you guys just brought that forward. The practical things of education were integrated in real life.
mhm,
Money and numbers and business. So that is adorable. So okay, all right. So in the program,
mhm.
would you mind going over some of the course offerings again for our listeners, because now they're sold on this is a cool program with some interesting,
Mhm.
real people who have designed it. So give us a list of some courses that stand out to you.
We have three main, like we say, like flagship courses that have about a semester's worth of curriculum in them.
Hmm.
So the one was descriptive statistics we've already talked about. So that's visualizing data and understanding data and not being lied or fooled by statistics.
Yeah.
We have life strategy, which is another semester long course that is kind of a mix. It's the most different. It's got a little bit of economics, business, psychology, philosophy, game theory. And that was developed with my dad and then my sister when she was 16. So he was kind of looking at these ideas he teaches in like business classes and some like master level courses, and then talking to her about like, okay, but how can we make this something that's practical for a teenager and it's going to matter to them? So they take personality tests and talk about motivation and planning for their future and figuring out what they value and how to make decisions when you have kind of uncertainty, which you learn how to do in the real world, right?
Mhm.
And then our third semester long course is investing with impact. So that's not necessarily like this is how you should invest and this is what your portfolio should look like, but it's exposing teenagers to understanding these ideas of what's the difference between a stock and a bond and a loan and what is volatility. And then we even go into a bit of like theory of the firm and what does it look like? What do we mean when a business who's gone public, its goal is to maximize shareholder
Mhm.
wealth or interest, and what if there's like ethical dilemmas that come into that? Like sometimes it's cheapest and best for the company to dump all the excess in the river downstream, right? But that's maybe not the best. So we go into that a little bit. So those are kind of our main 3 semester long courses. And then we also have a collection of mini courses that are about a month long. So we have like an intro to statistics. That's just a condensed month long version of that. And then we also have like strategic agreements. That's about doing negotiations and making business agreements. And who are you and what do you want? That's having young adults think about, well, who are they and what do they want and plan for their future and their values. So that's kind of the main course. Like we have one more is everyday leadership. So that's kind of self-explanatory, and that's a mini course. So yeah, there aren't really any prerequisites. You don't have to take them in a certain order. The only kind of obvious one is intro to statistics, and then the full statistics. It doesn't really make sense to take both, but everything else is independent. So you could just kind of look through our website, has all of our courses, and see what catches your interest, and if you want a longer or shorter commitment.
Leads right into how do people find Lines on Clay?
Yeah, makes sense. Our website has all the information you need. So if you look up linesonclay.com, that should pop up and you'll see information on where our name came from, but also importantly, our full course lineup. So it has kind of a syllabus for each of these courses so you can see how they vary from each other and our different platforms, and then pricing. So pricing obviously varies if you're taking like a mini course or a full course and if it's graded or ungraded. So that'll have all the information they need to distinguish between the courses, and then we'll have a little intro video for each one, kind of talking about what we get into.
That is awesome. All right, so go to linesonclay.com and you can get all of that information. For those who are watching on YouTube, we'll have the link in the comments. For those who are on the podcast, we'll have the links in the show notes. So you'll be able to connect right through. And if you're just driving around, hold on to the memory of Lines on Clay and think of the old clay tablets, and
Yep.
you'll remember. So I appreciate you guys bringing your unique offerings to the homeschool community, Luke.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this has been the Homeschool High School Podcast, brought to you by Seven Sisters Homeschool.com and the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. Thanks to Luke Zingg and Lines on Clay, and thanks to Seth Tillman for editing, and we will see everyone next week.
Thank you for having me.